Um, there's a rumor going around that Joe Biden's handing out crack pipes, and despite the right wing Twitter frenzy, he is not. Um, on Tuesday, right wing politicians and pundits suddenly began to amplify this entirely spurious claim that the current President Biden is using federal funds to distribute crack pipes to advance racial equity. Now, the Biden administration will soon begin funding the distribution of crack pipes to drug addicts in underserved communities for the purposes of advancing racial equality, and this was reported by the Washington Free Beacon, which is a far-leaning right-wing white website. Last week, Biden talked about being tough on crime. This is what Senator Tom Cotton from Arkansas had said. He's a Republican. And this week, the Biden administration announced funds for crack pipes to distribution to advance racial equality. No, they did not. End government-funded crack pipes, chimed Senator Marsha Blackburn, who's a Republican from Tennessee. Now, while the manufactured wave of conservative hysteria might make for a compelling faux news chyron, with Republicans simultaneously accusing Biden of racism and being weak on crime, this entire claim that he's handing out crack pipes is at best a ludicrous oversimplification. Now, here's what reality tells us, something that the Republicans refuse to ignore. Now, on Tuesday, the Department of Health and Human Services released details of a harm reduction grant program that will allocate $30 million to nonprofit groups nationwide as part of a plan to reduce drug-related harm, particularly in underserved communities. Now, the initiative would expand facilities to co-equally known as overdose prevention centers, which they offer fentanyl test kits, safe syringe exchanges, and opiate reversal drugs for people struggling with substance abuse and addiction. This is an epidemic that took the lives. This is an epidemic that took the lives of more than 100,000 Americans between the month of May of 2020 and going up until April of 2021. Now, these kind of centers have proven exceptionally effective in reducing drug-related harm, and they have operated in Canada, Australia, and many European nations for years. And they are becoming more common in large American cities as well. Last year in New York, such sites successfully averted 59 overdoses within a period of just 3 weeks' time. Now, this data looks are promising, and they show how overdose prevention centers will reduce needless suffering and avoidable death. This is what Dr. David Chokshi, a New York City Health Commissioner, had said back in December. The simple truth of this is that overdose prevention centers save lives and the lives of our neighbors, family, and loved ones. Now, so here's where we get back to the crack pipes. As one of the 20 harm reduction activities in Biden's plan, HHS would provide a safe smoking kit, which might include a rubber mouthpiece for glass pipes to prevent injuries, as the fact-check site Snopes had noted. It's this relatively minor provision within a much larger program that provoked conservatives into spinning Biden's entire plan as a massive crack pipe giveaway. And to be even clearer, no actual crack pipes will be given away, and the rubber mouthpieces are one small piece of a plan intended to save lives and reduce the public health consequences of drug addiction. Now, where the Free Beacon and conservative Twitterati got a hold of the notion that this harm reduction program and the purported crack pipes were meant to advance racial equality is not clear, however. But those exact words in that exact order do not appear in the HHS document outlining the program, although it does say that priority populations for this program are underserved communities that are greatly impacted by something called SUD, which stands for substance use disorders. Now, the underserved communities can certainly be construed as referring to communities of color, but not exclusively so. In fact, the term has an official government definition, which is under the Executive Order 13985. It's basically a population sharing a particular characteristic, as well as geographic communities that have been systematically denied a full opportunity to participate in aspects of economic, social, and civic life, as exemplified by the list in the preceding definition of equity. So that could refer to predominantly Black and Mexican neighborhoods, but it would also include members of gender, sexual, and religious minorities, and people with disabilities, and for that matter, predominantly white communities in remote rural areas, and many of which have been hit exceptionally hard by the opiate epidemic. Now, it's difficult to avoid the conclusion that this grotesque distortion of the Biden administration's harm reduction plan into a crack pipe giveaways about politics and not policy. In the great edition of death panels, the Obama phone and midnight basketball, it's a deliberately misleading attempt to turn a relatively minor social reform bill into a hot button culture war issue during an election year. So if you like the video, give the video a like and subscribe to my channel, RBW King, and also hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified when a new video comes out. And also, if you want to support my work even further, you could donate to my Patreon page, which you could find on the About section on my YouTube channel. So if you want to donate the work to donate, you have that luxury. But yep, so